What's up, boys and girls? Welcome back to Expression Culture. Here with me, Gareth, Honda Guru. Today we're going to be fitting more Powerflex parts to the CRZ. Let's go. So yes, you had me right, boys and girls, more Powerflex parts to the Honda CRZ. Now these actually are parts I helped develop. This one here, part number PFR25430. These are rear shock absorber top mounts, polyurethane, as with everything that comes from Powerflex, for the CRZ. And basically, as you know, I'm sponsored by Powerflex. I sent out my original ones to Powerflex with a few recommendations and everything, because there are companies out there that make polyurethane these mounts. However, they all seem to be in Asia. I think there's one company in America that does them as well. It'd be nice to have some British made parts for the CRZ readily available. So you will be able to now buy these from any Powerflex authorised dealer, or from Powerflex themselves if you are a dealer. I'll put a link to this product on their website so you can have a look, see what they do. Yeah, it's quite obvious what they do, isn't it? So almost like a lifetime bush, so this will probably outlast the car, although I hope that's never the case, because I want this car forever. These are the yellow street version. I haven't gone for the black series ones, because as you may have saw in the last Powerflex video we did on the CRZ, we did the rear engine mount, gearbox mount, and that's created quite a bit of MBH in the car already, so don't think I want to go for the black series ones on the car. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, like the video. All helps the algorithms and helps me grow as a channel, so I can make more videos like these for you boys and girls. You know, I do, like I said, I help develop parts with suppliers. Obviously I tried out the FN2 bushes that Powerflex make on my CRZ, so we now have a polyurethane rear axle bush option for the CRZ. They already made lower control arm bushes and the rear engine mount bushes, and now we have these. You're welcome. But yeah, anyway, so look at my do. Gonna get to fitting the bushes on this car. As you can see, this is where the shock absorber mounts to the rear axle. Obviously it's the same each side. What I'm going to do now is put a bit of penetrating fluid just on that thread. It's obviously been out fairly recently. Well, I say fairly recently, it was actually last March, so a year ago, when these coilovers were fitted by Dynodaze Performance Parts. Thank you very much. Although I wish I'd done them myself. But that's another story. Yeah, so I'm just going to put a bit of penetrating fluid on there, on the thread, make sure it comes through nicely, and then we're going to take this bolt off that goes all the way through, and then we will go to the top. Like I said, I'm going to try and do one at a time so the axle doesn't drop too far. Woo, just knocked the camera. As you can see, there's very little between the tyre and the floor, just so it doesn't come down too far. Sweet. Right. Let's put a little bit on there. You don't need to go too crazy. Don't want it going everywhere. bit in there, bit in there, and it probably doesn't matter too much this side, but yeah. Right, I'm going to do the other side off camera now. A 14mm socket. I have to use an extension because my gun's too big to get in there. Just take it nice and easy, because especially if you're doing this for the first time, your OEM shock could have, whoa, that's why you don't let it drop too far. So your OEM shock absorber, you can actually see on this thread here, it's not too great. Yeah, that looks like that's sort of seized at one point. But yeah, that's that out. They can sometimes seize to the metal sleeve in the bottom of these shocks, so just be careful, take it slow, don't just gut it out. But if you're struggling, put plenty of penetrating fluid on it, sort of wind it out a bit, wind it back in, and just take your time, take it slow. Last thing you want to do is snap it in this arm, because it's a bastard. And next you need to take that cover off here. I'm going to concentrate mainly on filming this side of the car, mainly because the exhaust is on this in the way of the other side. If you don't have subwoofer, actually it's no different, is it? The same here. So there's a little cutout, just pop that away, and the bush is under there. Now 14mm again. You may need a UJ for this. There we go. I'm being lazy. Obviously you could just use a spanner, and obviously you've got OEM shocks. You need to put a key in the middle, but these are time coilovers. And this big washer here, you won't have that on yours, because that's a hard race part there. But as you can see here, that's the top part of the bush. So we're going to be removing that black bush and replacing it with the Powerflex polyurethane one. I'm just going to pull the shock out now. The shock may have dropped already for you guys, so I put something underneath it, but it should just drop into the bottom of the axle. But mine seems to have got caught up on the bush up there. Right, there we go. It's the rear shock out, and the bush just basically sits on top of this thread here. Obviously being old, it's probably now stuck in the bottom side of the car. So we're now got to try and get that out, and this is where I was trying to be lazy to see whether I can get it out. There it is there, without taking the wheel down. Now there's not going to be much space for the camera and my hands in there, so I'm just going to do that off camera, but you can get an idea of what I'm doing. Right, now with the bushes removed, this is how the lower one was. So that would just push up between and sit on the sort of thread of the shock absorber. Let's show you how it would be like that, just like that. So that's now come out from underneath the wheel arch, like I just showed you up there. Yes, my car's a little bit crusty. Unfortunately, we do get a lot of salt. I will be sorting it, I promise you. And then this one inside the car, something like that. So basically you're doing this, and then obviously the bodywork of the car is sandwiched between these two bushes. Now the Powerflex ones, they are obviously similar. Let me get them out of the box. Obviously 4 bushes per box, 2 per side, and here you go. Now these are actually flat here. I actually asked that for that to happen because that will give you more contact. You don't need to pre-grease these. I've actually got to touch base on that. Powerflex actually told me off for greasing up their engine mounts. Apparently you don't need to do that. Apparently they can pop out on some models. Apparently that's not an issue on the Honda ones we have fitted because they're quite enclosed into the frame. However, Powerflex did also notice that they were incredibly stiff to fit, especially on the CRZ. So they don't think what I've done is a problem, but yeah, apparently what they do is use washing up fluid, washing up fluid, or what would you call them, dish soap or liquid soap. Yeah, because obviously then that dries out. So yes, what I'm going to do actually is, obviously where this is rubber, it has somewhat degraded in there a little bit. So I'm just going to go and clean all that up so it's all nice and shiny and we don't have any deteriorated rubber in there, because as you can see, you know, it has deteriorated somewhat. And when you feel sort of the comparison of how firm that is compared to how firm that is, there's a considerable difference. But obviously as well, these are a you know, a lifetime sort of solution. Awesome. Let's get them in after I've cleaned up, obviously. Yeah. Right, now that I've cleaned up that area a little bit, let's put this one. So I've just put the sleeve through here, make sure the sort of cone shape on this side goes pointing down, and then the basically the flat side goes across the body, so on the top one it'll be the other way around. Right, let's get this shock absorber in. We're going to put the top one in first as well, because that might just help locate it a bit easier. Right, so let's put this on a stand so you can see a bit better. Let's adjust that. Hopefully you can see fine. So this one in here, and that will just sit nicely like that. Nice. And then might get my lovely wife to come through and just put the nut on maybe. Let's adjust that a little bit. I don't actually know if you can see all right here. Try not to bang your lovely shock absorbers on the floor, and look up and put it in there. Woohoo, straight in. So, like I said earlier, there's two little tabs there, well it's actually one, that stops the shock from dropping down any further, but it's pretty much in there. So I'm just going to put this bolt in now, because it'll be easier to just jack the axle up a little bit and pop it in. Let's go. Where's the old... Oh. There it. Buzz that home. Now a top tip, don't do this up tight or torque it, so it's just lightly touching it now till you hit the ground, because if you do this up tight, that bush inside there is going to be compressed at this point. So as soon as you drop the car to the ground, that bush is then under tension and will twist and will cause to an early failure, which you don't want to do when you're rocking coilovers. So once the car's down on the ground, then torque that up, or do it up tight if you don't have a torque wrench or torque specs. Top tip. So I've just got another jack to pump up the axle. You can see that there, that's now sort of through. You want to wait, get it high enough that that little sort of collar's all the way through, and that way you can locate it nicely. And then obviously make sure underneath that bush is seated correctly, which it looks like it is. And then obviously you might not have this if you haven't got these hard race washers. Whack that on there, whack your nut on there, like so. Obviously be careful, don't cross thread it. Just need to start it just so it doesn't move, like that. So it's up. Now just jack it up all the way until you can do that tight. And we just want to, whoop, heads, straighten that out first, make it a bit easier. Just want to give that a few ugga-duggas, just so it's a bit tighter. Obviously, like I said, you want to, well, fall over your mat. You want to tighten everything up when it's down on the ground, because otherwise you'll put too much twisting on. It's not so much as important on this one because obviously it doesn't rotate, but looks sick. Right, let's get the rest of them. Let's do the other side. I'm gonna do the other side off camera because it's effectively the same thing on the other side, and then we're gonna go for a drive and see if it's well, yeah, see if we can feel a difference. I'm sure we will. Let's go. If you've got these tying coilovers, like I said earlier, these are 14 on top and then a little 8mm key here. You just need to tighten everything up once it's down on the ground. Just make sure everything's tight, obviously. And that's tight. There we go. Powerflex, polyurethane, rear top mount bushes. Woo. So I'm just going to tidy up, put my tools away. I need to obviously torque the bolts on the lower shocks to the rear axle now that the car's on the floor. I'm going to put the camera on charge for a little bit, and then we are going to go for a little test drive and see if we can notice any difference. Catch you in a bit. There we have it, boys and girls. It's definitely a lot firmer, which I like, obviously. I didn't have any sort of crashes or bangs from the suspension beforehand, which obviously going to polyurethane, if you've got worn out bushes, that will solve it. But that wasn't the case obviously on my car. Yeah, definitely recommend it, not only for the fact of, you know, firming up your suspension, as a, you know, a lifetime filter, fuck's sake, as a lifetime bush. You know, you're not having to worry about replacements now. It should outlast the car effectively, and I think you get a lifetime warranty with it, as long as it's been fitted correctly and, you know, you meet all the terms and conditions of their warranty. So yes, very happy with it. Thank you very much, Powerflex, for helping me develop the parts. I say helping me develop parts. Thank you very much for letting me work with you to develop parts for this car, and the GK platform Jazz. We've developed a few bushes now together, and there's more to come. There's certainly more to come. I have, like I mentioned in previous videos, I still have the front lower control arm bushes to fit on this from Powerflex. We also have the GK5, GK3, GP5 CVT polyurethane engine mount insert to do on Harry's Jazz whenever he becomes free. Thanks, mate. Every time I message you, you're always busy. But come on, I love this car so much. It's so fun. It's so raw. I really wish I could take more people out in this car, because it's nothing like, you know, a stock CRZ. It's just so, yeah, I've already just said that word, but it is so raw, you know, with all these polyurethane mounts and very, very, very loud exhaust. It's probably going to come across, and it does seem to sort of affect the audio quality on this camera. It's like a bee in a tin, I guess. But what can you expect, you know, it's got a secondary decat, it's got no silencer in the centre section, which is a Piper non-resonated centre section, and then a spoon M1 back box. Sometimes I think it's a bit too loud, but it's all good fun. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Like the video, share it with your friends, leave a comment. I've said this in plenty of my videos, I do love interacting with my followers, and I will always reply back as soon as I can. Yeah, let's look forward to, we're meant to be in spring now, but it's still freezing cold, and we had snow yesterday in March. It's not meant to be like that in the UK. It certainly isn't. Don't even want to say global warming. So anyway, boys and girls, I'm going to love you and leave you here. Please have a wonderful day, whatever you're doing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.